Hello and welcome back to Football 301. I am your host, Nate Tice. We are here to review and react to another fun Sunday of NFL action. Week 2 this time around. It felt too hot, too fast, too furious today, especially that morning slate, which we're going to be talking about, recapping a great slate of games. And to help me do that, just like every single Sunday, my guy, Mr. Four Verts, Charles McDonald. How you doing today, Chuck?
I'm doing good. I've recovered from the whiplash of that 1 p.m. slate, and I've been able to center myself a little bit because it got wild as hell. Because it felt like it was like, man, some of these games are blowouts, and then it turned crazy at the witching hour. But this is kind of what you get when the NFL wants everyone to watch Chiefs Eagles at 4:25. We're gonna slam the morning slate full, and you guys get to have your fun from that 30-minute stretch. It's so good when you have like a logged in these games.
It almost felt like witching hours for a while, like just
Yeah,
because
yeah.
one of the games in particular went quite long, which we're going to talk about. But before we get into that, also check us out on the Yahoo Sports Network, our brand new streaming TV channel. The Yahoo Sports Network is available to stream on leading fast services. It's also streaming live 24/7 on yahoosports.tv, where you can catch all the shows on your phone or your browser. And my voice isn't a little scratchy because that Sunday slate of games. I was also at a wedding this weekend. So maybe it's a combo of that, but you get to hear some bass today from my voice. But we're going to start off. We're going to get into it. We're going to get into this Sunday with ups and downs of week 1 with 3 highs and 3 lows. You mentioned it, Chuck. That witching hour was great. And that's what we're starting off with high 1. That was that early slate witching hour madness. I think it was there's about 40 games we can talk about there. Yeah, Seahawks Steelers was a battle. Patriots Dolphins was a sloppy steak battle. 49ers Saints went to the wire. Jags Bengals went to the wire, which we'll talk about throughout this show. But the really kind of the piece de resistance of that morning slate was Giants Cowboys going into overtime with 99 passing plays, 984 total yards. Russell Wilson finished with 450 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, partying like it's 2009. His highest EPA per dropback since week 17 of 2022. That's like 3 teams ago for Russell. Dak Prescott finished with 361 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a victory. This game had 26 penalties, including an onslaught of personal fouls. At one point, I think there was 5 on one play, 266 yards of penalties total. Where to start with this game, Chuck? What is your takeaways of the witching hour, the Cowboys, Giants, madnesses, everything that happened in that morning slate?
I got to be honest. Like I feel like I've been so overexposed to the New York football scene that whenever I get a chance to like not pay attention to it, I usually take it. So I wasn't really aware of what was going on in that game until about the fourth quarter because I hadn't watched all too much of it, and then I felt like it just turned into some ridiculous, not even a shoot, like a track meet, where no defense could do anything. All the stars were playing at the peak of their abilities. Like you said, the penalties, like Giants offensive tackle James Hudson, he got 4 penalties in a row during a stretch. Where it was really really crazy. And even just to get like kind of like a weird prime Russell Wilson game, it was fun just to see him throwing the deep ball, getting Malik Neighbors involved. Yep. But like if you're looking at it from a Cowboys perspective, this is like when you build the bend don't break defense, but you miss the part that makes it bend, you know. So you're just getting absolutely killed. Like when you have DBs that like to take chances on the ball. Yeah, when you have DBs that like to take chances on the ball, like Diggs and Bland. That's when it's really great to have someone like Micah Parsons because you know sometimes that ball's going to come out errant. But no, they got absolutely shredded today by an offense that I don't think they could replicate this again this season. So shout out to Russell Wilson for getting turned back block one.
Yeah.
That was one of the crazy things that happened in that final little stretch of the witching hour.
And especially when, a lot of Giants fans, including, some people working on the show were, calling for Jackson Dart. And all of a sudden they, not you, Charles, behind the scenes, but some people also calling for Jackson Dart. And, yeah. And then Russell's just like, all right, this is why you brought me in. It was cool, like you said, to see the deep ball back. You mentioned that those Cowboys DBs really like to take chances on the ball and everything. Under 2.5 seconds, Russell Wilson was 13 of 16 for 85 yards. Okay, 5.3 yards per attempt. Over 2.5 seconds to throw, 60, which was 61% of his attempts, 17 and 25, 365 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick, 14.6 yards per attempt.
17
so, like you said, if the Giants O-line held up or if they got beat, and the Cowboys pass rush wasn't really like anything to write home about. It felt like neither was the Giants. The Giants defense overall was like, yeah, a couple splash plays by like Drew Phillips, but he also got beat. And so it's just the Giants defense, as producer Stone could get ready for some take poker for me in a couple days. I'm ready to fold on that top 10 defense take because they can't cover anybody. But no, it was a really entertaining game. We got to see some booming kicks as well. We got to see plenty of penalties. I felt like the scene from The Replacements where everybody's hitting each other. Both teams finished with a success rate about 45%. And like you said, you just noticed the Malik Neighbors, the Giants, deep ball connection was going. The explosive plays were happening left and right. Got to see some of the young players getting after, like Cam Scadaboo. So yeah, it was an entertaining game. And then on the flip side, the Cowboys offense, it's like, man, if you knew this Cowboys offense was going to cook like this, sure, it would have been nice to have a defense to match, like a number one pass rusher in the world right now to be on that defense in the prime of his career. That would be really sweet. Maybe going into this year in a wide open NFC, but we're going to talk more about this morning slate of games because it was just like so much to pick from, so much to choose from, including I can't even mention because it didn't really matter for the witching hour because this team might have heard me maybe saying some stuff, and I immediately put my foot in my mouth about John Morton. That we're getting on to high number 2. The Lions offense explodes. We debut a segment called Dog of the Week, and that dog is in the shelter right now. that was we're not taking that one back out. Lions blew him out of the water. This could have been a low too, like Bears defense low, because I thought the Bears offense actually had some nice stretches there, especially in the first half. DeAndre Swift should be benched for life. But I thought the Lions offense was like, oh, this is great. This is fantastic. This is what we expected. Ton of play action, tons of Amon-Ra St. Brown across the middle. But watching this game, what do you think about the Lions? Is this kind of more what you expected going into this year?
I guess I got to say, yeah, because I didn't really expect them to be like, I guess as bad as they were versus Green Bay, but right. I need to look up where it finished. Green Bay might be the real deal, man. That defense, yeah. Oof, I know we'll be talking about that a bunch this season. But replicating something like this would be almost impossible. Like what the Lions did today, it just makes me want to talk about the Bears. Like, for the first one of the striking things I remember seeing today, like as the game was happening, was at the end of the third quarter, going to the fourth, the Lions were averaging 9.5 yards per play. Like through 3 quarters, they have 4. That's ridiculous. Like that's literally video game stuff. Like if someone did that to you in a video game, you're like, I'm not playing this again. This is ridiculous. That's trash. That's cheese. But through 3 quarters, they have 48 plays for 456 yards. They were averaging almost 13 yards an attempt. Success rate is 55%. I mean, just a complete beat down. And I just wonder, like when stuff happens like this for the Bears, how do you let this spiral this out of control? Because I just don't think, and I know obviously I'm dead wrong in the top 10 defense take for the Bears. Top 10 defense don't let that happen ever. But I just feel like they have a little bit more talent here than you would expect with some of these results. I know some people said they're missing Jalen Johnson. Okay. Mm-hmm. 52 points though, but 9.5 yards per play, like that's really bad. It's really bad.
Yeah, I should maybe notice Kyler Gordon not being out, and it's like, where's Amon-Ra St. Brown like to work? Oh yeah, and then how Amon-Ra St. Brown finished? 9 catches, 11 targets, 115 yards, 7 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns. And I bet you if I looked up his route tree right now, not even the ones he was targeted on, it was the same over route over the middle, play action over route, play action over route. And I was just, I know I was kind of. The Bears, the offense or defense, just felt defanged. Like they just like couldn't, like just like they didn't do anything. I was looking up play action stats for Goff, and then actually I stopped because I was like, well, let's just use his total stats: 23-28, 5 touchdowns, 156 passer rating. I don't even have to use advanced stats, but I will. 65% success rate. We were freaking out about Fields last week, and his success rate, and that was with all the scrambles. This is just working from the pocket and chucking it. Like you mentioned the yards per play. Oh, I'm so glad they shared this throwing chart because Goff was on one today. He wasn't sacked the whole day. 52 points on 58 plays. Like it felt like the Wisconsin teams I got to play with. Like it really did. They're shredding them on everything. Like anything they want. 45% rushing success rate. Jameer Gibbs was doing stuff. David Montgomery got in the action. But no, this is what it did. It felt like, Ben Johnson didn't even leave. It was like John Morgan was like, okay, all right, no, I'm back to like what's working. I thought the O-line did a good job. But yeah, the Bears defense was just like, I got to rewatch it and be like, was it predictable? Was it just like nobody winning? Like it was those DBs being out, like really hindering, obviously a little bit, but I thought they'd have better pass rush. It just was not explosive for a defense, if that makes sense.
I have a very small sample size John Morton take that I was thinking about as this game was going on. He might be like very sensitive to game flow as far as what he's calling. Like maybe a little bit more sensitive than Ben Johnson was, because today that was the front runners offense, man. Like they're like once they got the lead, they're running the ball. They had the play action stuff working off it. But I felt like versus the Packers, like once it started to get down a little bit, he was like, okay, I'm going back to what I know from the past. We're just going to drop back. We're going to get after it. And I think you kind of saw two extremes of what he was willing to do on a Sunday. And obviously it's going to lie in the middle as it goes along. But I was just noticing like, okay, so when he's up, like they'll run all the stuff you saw from Ben Johnson last year. When it's down, maybe we don't know yet. So I'd be keeping tabs on that and just how he calls games in relation to what the score is.
Yeah, I think that's maybe a good point, that maybe it's just the highs can still be there for this line. I mean, it's just they have so many good players that's always just the argument against it. It's like you can't. It's like there's an analogy about jockeys and horse racing. Like a good jockey might not win you a race, but they can't lose it. And it's almost like the opposite for coaches, or like a bad coach. Like they can lose you the game. So maybe it's just like you say, that game script can really affect them. There might have some more. Might be more volatile this year, but still have the highs, but maybe just have lower lows. So maybe that's what it is. I'm just trying to figure out the lines, because I watched the defense. That first touchdown, Roman Dunze had a great game. And the first touchdown he had on the crossing route, that's what I was kind of getting after with the Lions defense, which is actually even more worrisome to me now, because they just have busts. It's not just like a guy's losing. It's just guys busting. And they're not running like crazy stuff where it's like, oh, you have to match this. It's just straight man coverage. So that's where that one I'm really keeping an eye on more. But yeah, I feel like this offense is just so insulated. You still have Dan Campbell giving his opinion. You still have Hank Fraley. And you just felt it today. I mean, this NFC North is just, everyone's just going to beat the crap out of each other. So I can't wait for some more of these matchups that we're going to get to see. Yeah. High number 3. This was one of yours, and this was also from the morning slate, and a pretty entertaining game featuring maybe not the most noteworthy players, but a very entertaining game. And what was high number 3 for you, Chuck?
I'm giving this one to Kyle Shanahan, just because I know it had to bring him some joy to finally get that Mac Jones game that we know he craves back when they traded the 3 first-round picks for Trey Lance. And it's funny how the circle works, and now yeah, exactly. But it's funny because I was I kind of had the eyeball in this game, partly because of what you said, not too many. The most interesting game I think of the weekend, and then every time I look, like Mac Jones had pretty solid stat line. Finished 26 for 39, 279, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Probably the most efficient game he's played since his rookie year, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
It's been a minute for him now. So it's just funny to see, like, when even as a supporting cast clearly is not like as dominant as it was in the past. Kyle is still capable of just throwing just any old quarterback in there some weeks and drawing up a game plan. And I know the Saints are not the toughest opponent. Their defensive line is really not what it used to be, but still, like, a lot of teams, they can't bank on, okay, well, we got our backup quarterback against a bad team. You still don't know how it goes. And then when Kyle Shanahan rolls out Mac Jones with a diminished supporting cast based on what we've used to in the past, they still go out and they score, and he has a really efficient day throwing the ball. So I just found that funny, and just another reminder that, even if things get tough for some more talented people in the league, like, they'll still show you why they are considered that. Looking at Patrick Mahomes,
they're good minds.
That was
honestly, some of the good coaches are more fun to watch when they have lesser talent, or in theory lesser talent, like, perceived. You are playing. Yeah, I mean, Mac Jones, it was like a multiverse version of like the usual 49ers like cast of characters. So it was like they should be wearing like mustaches or something. But it was like, so Mac Jones said Brock Purdy, you got Luke Farrell and Jake Tongs, I believe his name is, but they did their best impression of like Purdy to Kittle. at moments. Juszczyk was out, I believe, for a minute, and then you got Kendrick Bourne catching passes. Juwan, what you mentioned though, like your whole point, kind of going like, hey, Shanahan can really dial him up. There was a couple today, especially to CMC. I had that same thought. Like the designer plays are just so great always with Shanahan. We think of all the run game stuff, but then he has these pass plays that's like they know how to kind of get the coverage they want because they check plays, but then they just kind of manipulate it perfect. So the CMC receiving touchdown, they had him at the number 3 spot, so basically like a tight end. And so it's him, Pearsall at the slot, who's usually an outside receiver, Juwan Jennings on the outside. It's like just okay, that's an interesting trio over there on the 3-by-1 side. Then it's CMC runs like an out route. It wasn't like a deep out route, but kind of middle out route. Pearsall's in the slot, runs a dig route. And all that does is it splits the coverage because it just gets 2 guys working opposite leverage. And it's like not that overly complicated, but it's just like getting the right players in the right spots and just like, because, okay, CMC's in the slot or in number 3 spot, the defense then gets more basic. So, okay, boom, we got the coverage we want. Then we're going to run this play. Okay, it's going to split the coverage. Boom, touchdown. I thought that was so cool. And then he had like a 3rd and 10. CMC's running a comeback from the backfield. Like the Jennings. Like, I mean, just stuff where it's like, yeah, you can do it on a whiteboard, but like he just goes up and like they do it. And it helps when you have Christian McCaffrey. But then, and then the last one, like the Jennings TD throw, that's where I was like, hey, Mac Jones, that was a hell of a throw. It was a bender like on 3rd and 10 against a disguised cover 2. And so like that's the thing. We talked about it on the previous show. It's like Mac Jones could get it done. Maybe the cast of characters isn't the super friends like it's been, but I mean it's not too bad. Maybe it's like Guardians of the Galaxy or something. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's just like the lesser version, the outcast version, but it works.
Yeah, I thought one thing that's been kind of cool to see, like as Shanahan, you talk about like the guys who are actively seeing things change in their team and like adapting their play calls to. I think Shanahan's done a good job like adapting this Christian McCaffrey receiving game to like who he is as an athlete now, because he's not the guy that has like the burning speed that he used to, where like, once he get loose, he could catch a crease and then off for 60 yards. Doesn't quite have that speed anymore after the injuries, but still has a lot of the short area stuff. And I thought he did a good job of like allowing him to like take advantage of that instead of maybe where you saw a wheel route in the past as a comeback now because he can get off a little bit easier instead of having to burn it deep. So I like
Great
what
point.
Shanahan's doing again. It's pretty cool.
I know. And I mean, we're not talking about them, but like you watch the Rams today and it's like, oh yeah, these good play callers, they're really fun to watch every week, even if it doesn't matter who's out there. So that's a great point. That's a really good point about the kind of like his speed and explosiveness and stuff. So, all right, now it's to the negative section, the lows. Low number 1. The Jacksonville Jaguars should make sure Joe Burrow is healthy when they play the Cincinnati Bengals because they can't seem to beat Jake Browning. They play the wrong JB in these games. The Bengals win 31-27, and I am like just sad with the Jags. Do you really want me to put you guys like in timeout again? Like, is there a ban that has to happen again? I thought Brian Thomas Jr. was wildly disappointing today outside the drop in the red zone on 4th down.
For him,
he had true alligator arm moments that one caused an interception and one could have maybe been a touchdown. And I have people going like, oh, it's a hospital ball. So I have the privilege. I can look at all 22 early. I can't post it. So I'll check some plays every once in a while. I looked at it.
You gotta trust us here.
It's embarrassing. Like, it's embarrassing. Like, and people are called a hospital. It's not a hospital ball, like, which also should be taken out of the lexicon anyways. But it's a bender or an inbreaker, and the DB is on the other side of the hash. Like, if he just runs, he's catching and splitting it. But he stops, slows, and looks at the DB and holds his arm up. True alligator arms. Really disappointing for a guy I considered into the season a top 10 receiver because he was so awesome last year. But this is why the Jags are just, I said that he becomes 5'6" between the hashes as well. You got Trevor Lawrence waving off Liam Cohen. You got Trevor also had a red zone pick. He also threw one play. He was 3 yards past the line of scrimmage and threw a ball because he thought he had a pass interference on a play. They're just, I don't know. They have moments. The opening quarter, I was like, oh man, they look at that Jags offense. Congrats to the Bengals for winning and pulling out this victory. It's huge. Joe Burrow might have turf toe, so we'll see what happens there. But man, this felt just more disappointing for the Jags. So I'm curious how you
Yeah.
want to unleash on them, because I could just keep going and going.
Um, I mean, the second half by the Jags was just terrible. I mean, so they averaged
Sloppy.
in the first half, the Jaguars offense averaged 7.4 yards per play. In the second half, they were
Okay.
averaging like 3.9. While the Bengals jumped up to 6.3 yards per play in the second half. So really, just like both sides of the ball, really just a total collapse. I
Yeah.
think when you needed it most, it's like, damn, like we keep kind of seeing this sometimes. Now, not hopefully it doesn't get as extreme as when they were like 8-3 a couple years ago when we're in the driver's seat in the AFC, and then this game happened
And then played the
against the
Bengals.
and then
Yes.
everything fell apart. And that was the last time the Jaguars were remotely fun and watchable, and it felt like things were hopeful over there. But I mean, in the second half, you run 34 plays for 133 yards. The only part of the game that at that point that was working was, a couple ETN carries, but the way that the drop back game really fell off, like you said, Brian Thomas Jr. I thought that was maybe his worst game that I've seen him play so far. Trevor Lawrence had some really nice moments in this first half. Second half, it got a little shaky sometimes.
Yeah.
But I really just think like you gave up 6.3 yards per play to a Jake Browning led offense. I mean, what's the deal there? I thought they had enough talent maybe to play a little bit better than that, but dude, like Tyson Campbell got torched today, and they couldn't really get anything going in the second half on defense. Really, really bad look, I think, for them.
It's like talk out of both sides of your mouth with the Jaguars. It's like, because that's the thing, is like they had moments where I was like, man, this looks great. Like, Trevor's trusting different receivers. Diamond Brown's having a nice moment. Okay, they're working out Travis. Okay, they're working this all out. Okay, they're rotating the backs. Like Bashal Tootin had some nice moments. I'm like, okay, they had a 50% rushing success rate today. They finished with a 40s 8.6 overall success rate, and they had 3 turnovers on defense. If you told me that against a backup quarterback, like, oh, so they won by 17, they won by 14, and no, it was down to the wire, and they lost the game. Yeah, it's just
Right.
there's something about this team where it's just like they're just so dumb at times, and I know it's going to take time to refresh it, but they just feel that way. That even today, where they felt efficient at times, then they just had some of the worst moments of the week, and it's just just very, very frustrating. That's just always like one step forward, one step back, or 2 steps back sometimes. So that's a game I'm going to definitely rewatch, because it's leaving a weird taste in my mouth, and I'm sure Jags fans feel the same. Bengals pull off a huge win. Now they have to figure out what the Joe Burrow injury is, what that's going to be. We already see what Brock Purdy's missing time with a turf toe variant, that mutated and turned into the Red Hulk or something, or into Venom. So now, but anyways, we're gonna move on to, that's enough Jags. They're so close. They're just like, I'm hovering that band over them right now. But we go on to low number 2, and I was about to do this for this other team that we're going to talk about. Patriots and Dolphins, just sloppiness, just sloppy game. 22 combined missed tackles, the 22 combined penalties. The Patriots had 12 missed tackles, which is their highest missed tackle rate since week 4 in 2021, according to our friend Keegan Abdu from Next Gen Stats. The H-Chan was running wild. Everybody was running wild. Drake May had a great game, probably his most efficient from beginning to start game. Only really missed one throw off the top, back of my mind, where Booty didn't settle on one. Keyshawn Booty looks great, by the way. So that looks kind of a fun development here.
He does.
He looks he's really actually trustworthy now, which is like, I'm like shocked. So it's like, that's like a really fun development for them.
He was supposed to be the guy after Chase and Jefferson, and it never happened for reasons that you can go Google for yourself. But just
a lot of reasons.
lots of reasons. Yeah, I don't even have enough show to get to them. But it looks like some of the talent that people were hyping on a long time ago now has really started to at least take hold a little bit. I don't know what clicked for him, but thank God, like they got at least someone out there. It's been tough sledding for a while.
Yeah, because Diggs ain't it. The Patriots had a moment where they had, it was like 8 minutes or so left in the game. They had the lead. Kind of one of those drives where it's not a 4-minute drive, but it's a drive you really want to like eat some clock, maybe get a field goal out of. Like 2 false starts, an illegal shift. Garrett Bradbury rolled a shotgun snap on the ground, and then he did the double whammy of having a bad snap and then in the middle of the play turning around like he's a 9th grader. And so he bad snaps it, turns around, and then so both interior linemen just run right by him. So it's like, just hold up. If you have a bad snap, just hold up. Like, just like, just eat it. Like, because otherwise you're leaving your quarterback on the ground just getting smoked. But yeah, I don't know. They allowed a punt return for a touchdown. And it was funny, the commentator, I didn't even know who it was, but I heard him say, he goes, sometimes that's the issue when you have a big booming punt, you outkick your coverage. And then I watched the replay. It's like they had 5 guys there and they missed 5 tackles. Like, that wasn't like out kicking your coverage. That was just bad tackling. And then on the next play, they just return a kick for a touchdown. The Patriots do. So it's just like, Tyreek Hill is returning punts now. Like, it's just like like everything about this game just felt weird. Like, it really did. And then I don't know. And then there's Drake May with, I believe he had over a 60% success rate. Had a lollipop throw touchdown to Booty. That was beautiful. And then he had the wheel route to Stevenson where he stepped up. We made Phillips miss. That was really nice. I know it's a low, but I'm sneaking in some May praise here because that he was really fun today. Dolphins
they had a drop back. The Patriots had a drop back success rate today of 63%. The Dolphins also had 59.9%. So, lots to clean up. And it was so interesting because when I was watching this game, like it just felt like the Dolphins, like even like you start looking at the end of the game and you see, Tua had like, a nice box score game, but it never felt like he was actually in control of like playing well during the game. His EPA numbers are great, success numbers are great. When I watched the game, I was like, this feels like it's about to crack any second. And then, even though you get to the final result, 33-27, wow, so exciting. Like, no, this is a sloppy game between two, like pretty obviously bad teams. But it's okay for the Patriots to be like where they are in terms of their team quality. The Dolphins, we know we had the offseason where we were just yelling about how much it looks like they've fallen off, but to be like this bad, man, like this bad, that there's no excuse for that.
No, there's not. And especially for a defense and teams that want to be revamped and everything. I mean, or offense, I should say. And like, that should be the expectation. And it's just like at the end, they like when it's 3rd and long, they're just like, it just feels like, oh, they have no shot here. Like once they hit like a middle screen, because like Tua's not pushing the ball, he's going to check something down. So like you say, it's like statistically it feels fine during the middle of the game. But when it comes down to crunch time, and I know Dolphins fans feel this and are complaining about it now, just like, oh, no, they're not going to pull this out because he's not going to attack down the field or not going to do that next thing. He took 5 sacks. That's an issue too. Like, he's not for a ton of yards or anything, but, he's under duress. Like, and it's not like that's his wheelhouse to be performing during that. So let's move on to low number 3. This was Steelers offense fell a little flat / Seahawks defense kind of took control. But yeah, just Steelers offense Steelers just kind of fell apart as the game went along. And Steelers overall, because you even had Caleb Johnson, who I'm like, I got to see this guy on the field. And then he does that. And I'm like, okay, I understand Mike Tomlin and Arthur Smith, why you're keeping him on the bench for now as he allows the gimme touchdown because he doesn't understand the rules.
Okay, but like, the thing is, like, you don't even have to understand the new rules to avoid that mistake. Like, at no point, if on a kickoff, the ball is live, bro.
Yeah.
Like, even in college, if you muff a kickoff or a punt, it's live. Like, I know he felt it touch his hands in his helmet. So even if you think, bounce back so far, it's, maybe it's just going to roll the back of the end zone for a safety. Go make sure. Like, what? And then just to watch him stand there as the Seahawks ran to recover for a touchdown, I was like, what just happened there? Because even before you invited the new rules, like, if on an old kickoff, if he just let's let the ball smack him in the face and then it goes in the end zone, it's the same exact rules. So I don't know why. And it's the same for college too and high school. So I don't really know what happened there, but I do know this. He's gone. Like, he's never going to play again this year. Like, like you
Rodgers said, Rodgers and Arthur Smith.
Yeah.
No.
We're not
going to see him for 3 months.
Yeah.
Like,
so maybe
unless someone gets hurt.
That was bad.
I know.
Bad. And, I'm so baffled at how close he was.
It's, trust me, after watching when I was a kid, watching Plaxico Burress fumble a ball because they didn't realize that in the NFL you have to be touched down. Like, ever since that, I've been also a Steeler his rookie year. Ever since that, I've never been shocked by what a college player just doesn't know. Like, it's or rookie doesn't know. Like, nothing has ever shocked me ever again. Ryan Tannehill not knowing what the divisions are, that nothing ever shocks me with what a rookie does and does not know.
last week, Brian Callahan not knowing that an elbow coming down makes it a
Yep.
catch when you're trying to get two inside. Crazy.
I know it is, and I mean the Seahawks got rolling in the second half. This is kind of what I expected. I thought they matched up really well against the Steelers. In the second half, the Seahawks finished with a 52% success rate, 44% rushing, 60% passing, 7 explosive plays in the second half, 23 almost a 23% explosive play rate, which is ridiculous. And then Rodgers, on the other hand, oh, as soon as he gets under pressure, he's done. Like he just starts. He. It's so crazy because he's got to just throw. And I think that's an underrated thing with Rodgers is how much he relied on his athleticism. So now it's kind of a weird how he plays is just a weird disconnect of how he wants to play, which is just getting old. You can see this on the screen, but Rodgers under pressure today, three for 11, 36 yards, a pick, 2.8 passer rating. If you like your missionary box score stats, 3 sacks, overall finished with a 33% dropback success rate. He's not the main breadwinner of this offense. He kind of just has to keep it on the rails, but you can't 33% dropback rate. Why do we get rid of Russell and Justin Fields if that's what you're delivering here without the rushing ability? Like, but I don't need that. That does not helping out this offense or taking it to a new level. Also did think it was funny though. He realizes that he's just playing with a bunch of monster basketball players. So he's just lobbing things up to DK Metcalf. And the 2-point play to Darnell Washington was funny, but Steelers are gonna be in it. They won week 1. And I thought this was a good win for the Seahawks, kind of like a complete team game from them. They opened up some stuff on offense. Torrey Horton got a touchdown.
Yes.
Yeah, flying on it. Jalen Ramsey had a very eventful day where he's botching coverage and he has a great pick. He was just all over the place in good and bad ways. So, yeah, kind of a fun game. I got to watch most of it, truly, while I was on the plane coming home. And then I also just wanted a side mention. Broncos, it's low 3.5. Broncos losing because of a leverage penalty on a 60-yard field goal. First, why are you going for leverage on a 60-yard penalty? My son just came in the room. And then also, why are you calling that? You never call a leverage penalty. It was kind of a double whammy. And also the Colts offense, kind of fun with Daniel Jones against a Broncos defense that's we have high expectations for. What did you think about that game?
Dude, what the hell? I don't get what's happening here with this this Daniel Jones stuff in Indianapolis, but I think you know this. We're Anthony Richardson will see you on a new team next year. Because I just don't know if they're ever going to turn back. Because now Shane Steichen can say, "See, look, it wasn't me that was the problem.
Yeah,
we just cut up the Broncos." And honestly, it's cool to see this offense when it can be at their best. Jonathan Taylor had a great game today. Daniel Jones, obviously, he had another good game. Alec Pierce had some big moments. Tyler Warren's getting involved in the passing game and getting big plays. Last week I was like, okay. The Dolphins probably really are just that bad, and we'll see what happens moving forward. But to beat up the Broncos like that kind of changes some things, at least about what the tune for this team should be this season. And quite honestly, it's probably going to save some people's jobs, a lot of people's jobs. A decade of valor is about to go in strong into year 11 next year. So I'm really surprised at how good that the Colts have been, and it's kind of fun to watch because when you ever just have this, island misfit toys you don't really expect. They lost their 2 of their best offensive linemen. It's thrown in Daniel Jones, and bang, first 2 weeks, Daniel Jones having the best stretch of his career. Random, any given Sunday. I still want to see more, but right. So far, got to give them props. They were right. They were right.
I know. It was one of those after last week. I was like, all right, let's see what the Jets offense with Fields and Colts offense with Colts. I need some more data points. And it was the Jets offense today. I was like, there it is. And then the Colts, they just kept scoring. And it just kept moving the ball. Daniel Jones finished with his average air yards today was almost 10 yards, 9.8. This dude's just chucking it now. There's some good design stuff. There was some cool stuff. Tyler Warren, guys are making plays. Alec Pierce looks amazing. Freaking Daniel Jones finished with a 60% dropback success rate. I should have looked up what his record is. Might be his first game when he played the Bucs when he was with the Giants.
That's got to be the highest. He just needs to get back in that jersey number from college, 17. Just had to
That's
get
it.
that.
Yes. I always said that when I was, scout team quarterback, I played when I wore 12. And my best week ever as a scout team quarterback was when I had to be Colt McCoy. I always swear I was like I had to wear 12. That was the only reason. That was the only reason I played well that week. No, but I had a ban on the Colts, and now it's like, oh, that was an easy lift. All right, get it back on the Jags. So, and
Yeah.
just because I know it's interesting. Even Xavier Howard had like the most like eventful drive of a DB could possibly have. He had like 3 penalties in a row. He had like 2 tackles, a missed tackle, all in one drive. So it was just very eventful day in that game. And I thought the Broncos were going to start rolling, but they just couldn't put it away. Even if they had some nice moments, Bo Nix started hot. They had some great designs. Bo Nix wasn't even sacked the whole day. There's only 1 sack this entire game. So eventful game, eventful day. But we're closing it out today, Charles. I'll be back on Tuesday with Mr. Matt Harmon with more takeaways from week 2, maybe catch up on some of the games that we didn't get to today, maybe some extended thoughts after we watch some film, but it should be fun just like week 2 Sunday was, just like this show was with Charles McDonald. I'm Nate Tice. You can find me at Nate_Tice on social media. Charles, where can they find you?
You can find me on Blue Sky, about to live post through a dreadful Falcons national TV game. So yeah, if you want to watch that, uh, come on over. Come on over. I'll probably be
Can't
sounding
wait.
just like Nate's son in about 2 hours.
Oh my God, I know. He came in, he snuck in. I could tell he was like, I'm not supposed to be in here. So yeah, Jack almost made his first podcast appearance today. Oh no, man, we'll be back after reviewing that game. Well, Vikings Falcons action. We'll see if my Hail Mary
That's right.
cashes in. But yeah, I'm looking forward to your timeline for the next couple hours before we meet back up to record that. But make sure, thank you all for joining us live here on YouTube. If you're listening to the podcast form as well, subscribe to us, follow us, rate us, please. But also, you can watch us on YouTube on the Yahoo Sports channel. Make sure to subscribe there, like us there. Also, just check us out every Sunday. We'll be doing this live. Check us out on YouTube. Listen to the podcast after. Do both. We'd appreciate it. But thanks to Stone, Madison, and Austin behind the scenes for making us look and sound good. Thank you all for listening. See you guys next time.